This door right here is the access to my water heater, but it's also the first thing you see when you walk into the closet. It's kind of an eyesore. So I want to make it look pretty with some wallpaper and a full-size mirror. And did I mention I've never done wallpaper before? Ooh.
Did you just rip it?
If you've been following this series, then you know that I got quoted over $7,700 for a custom closet. So I said, nope, I'm building it myself. This is what my closet used to look like, and after some decluttering, making my own built-in closet system, and some IKEA dressers, I'm almost done with my dream closet. Like almost to the almost done. So the first thing I need to do is rebuild this door because it's a little too small for the mirror I bought, which means I need to go to the store and get more wood. I already came to Lowe's. I forgot the trailer and the saw wasn't working and I needed the wood cut so it could fit in my car. But since it wasn't working, couldn't take the wood, so I'm back again. And I brought the trailer this time. If you fall off that thing, I'm just gonna laugh at you. To build the access door, I had to get plywood that was 1/2 inch thick because anything thicker than that plus the mirror will get hit by the drawers when I open them. I was kind of lucky though because the plywood was damaged on one side and the cashier noticed, so she gave me a discount. I ended up getting this for like half off. I think I just got through the sawhorse. After cutting through the sawhorse, which happens more often than I would like to admit, I finished cutting the length of the plywood. I then cut the width, making the whole piece slightly bigger than the mirror I'm putting on.
Excuse me, I need to go into my office for a moment. Pee 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 pee. Would you mind shutting the door?
Which door? I'm amazed this worked. I'm amazed you fit in there. Are you done?
No.
Can I talk about my plans?
I live here now. This is my box.
So while Tony does whatever it is Tony does, I want to tell you about Wild. I have partnered with Wild, which is a natural, eco-friendly deodorant. And let me tell you, I love their cases. They come in one-of-a-kind aluminum cases that are reusable, so no single plastic use. They're built to last a lifetime and you can even customize them. And the best part, it actually works. Wild keeps me fresh for 24 hours without any harsh chemicals. No aluminum salts or parabens, so it won't block your pores. Oh, and get this, Wild has saved over 612 tons of single-use plastic from going into landfills. That's wild. Their products are packed with natural nourishment and they are certified vegan and cruelty-free. They have amazing scents including seasonal and classic options. My personal favorite, coconut and vanilla. The formula is super creamy thanks to shea butter and it just feels great on my skin. Wild also has refillable body wash and lip balms. So if you want to check out Wild, I have a discount code for you. Or you can check out the QR code. But you gotta hurry because my discount doesn't last long. So click the link in the description to discover more about Wild. Okay, where was I?
Are you seeing if anybody's home?
I am looking to see what the studs are. Okay, so stud's probably around here. Stud's probably starts here, probably somewhere around there. It's kind of hard to explain now, but this is gonna have wallpaper, but I still need it to be screwed in, and the screws have to be accessible because this is an access panel, so it needs to be taken off. I didn't want to do like hinges or anything that would make the door easy to open because, I don't know, it doesn't get open often at all. The only time this will get open if there's a flood, I hope that doesn't happen, or if the water heater needs to be changed, which hopefully I'm years from that. So anyways, I'm lining it up, trying to figure out what I'm doing before I put the wallpaper on. Because the challenge is gonna be doing the wallpaper on the wall and also on this, kind of trying to match it all together. It's like all working in my head. Okay, you wanna know what the real challenge is? I gotta screw this on 4 or 5 inches off the ground so that I can run trim at the bottom. So, how am I gonna do that? If you can give me, you see all that scrap wood over there? Bring me all of that. That is not it. Those are shims. Like, what is this gonna do? I need to lift it 4 or 5 inches.
Look, okay. It seems like that might be scrap wood, okay? I won't chuck this at you because this is like bigger and I feel like that could actually do some damage.
I think I need to go up a little bit more, but I can probably shim it. Putting a lot of trust on that painter's tape up there.
You say shims?
I also marked lines here so that is centered. It's kind of centered with the bottom of the closet, not the top. And that was one of the first bad decisions I made for this part of the project. So you will see me regretting life later. I'm drawing a plumb line so that when I put the wallpaper, I line it up with that line, and hopefully everything's straight and it's easy to line up the rest of the wallpaper. I watched a total of 1 tutorial on how to do this. It's one of those tutorials that made it look really easy. We're off to a great start. Aha, I got it. Ooh.
Did you just rip it? Did you just rip it?
Okay, I need to be very careful with this. I did just rip it. Look, can you see it?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, well the good news is we ordered exactly as much wallpaper as we need, so.
I hope I don't have to order another roll. If it isn't clear yet, I've never put out wallpaper before, unless you count sticking a little piece of wallpaper inside of a drawer. But despite my rough start of ripping the wallpaper fresh out of the roll, I was feeling pretty confident. So this doesn't reach all the way here, but that's because there's gonna be a trim there covering it, so it should be fine. Okay, I'm probably not supposed to cut this yet, but it's, I noticed that I put this kind of crooked, so I need to take it off and straighten it. Okay, all right. I think getting the first piece up was probably the hardest part, just trying to line it up perfectly, but once I had it in place, I started peeling out the rest of the backing and smoothing it out with the scraper that had felt on it. One thing I learned from the tutorial is that using fabric or felt helps prevent scratches on the wallpaper, which is definitely something I didn't want to deal with.
You want to talk through your thoughts, what you're thinking?
I need to ripping it. I am eyeballing this, so wish me luck. Alright, this is so bad. I was trying to save this part right here to put on the door so that it all lines up together, but my cut was extremely crooked. So I think I'm gonna forget about that. I'm just gonna do the door separately. Hope that I have enough wallpaper to do the door. But if I don't, I'll just order more. Basically, I was trying to make sure this wasn't waste, but it is going to be waste now because I can't cut a straight line. I think I just need practice.
Does anyone else think scissors look like birds? Like this screw is the eyeball and the blades are the beak. Oh, you got that one started a lot easier than last time.
The second panel was a little easier since all I had to do was line it up with the first one and make sure the design matched. The only issue, the instructions said to overlap it, but overlapping kind of messed up the pattern, so I had to overlap it just enough without making it too obvious. Through my research of trying to pick out wallpaper, I found there's two types of wallpaper. There's peel and stick and the one you install with adhesive. The peel and stick wallpaper is basically like a giant sticker. You peel off the backing and you stick it right onto the wall, like I'm doing right now. And that's great if you want something temporary. Apparently it's renter friendly because it's removable without damaging the wall. Traditional wallpaper, on the other hand, needs adhesive or paste to stick. It's a bit more of a commitment. I've heard mixed opinions of the ease of installation for the peel and stick versus the paste. Apparently the wallpaper and paste, when you install it, it gives you a little bit of wiggle room to slide the wallpaper around into place, while the peel and stick, well, you see me struggling. If I put it wrong, I have to peel off the entire thing and do it again. I'm gonna do something really stupid, but I should have come all the way down to here, but I was trying to be mindful of waste. So I think I'm actually gonna cut this around the door and I'm just gonna patch this, but it's not going to be visible. The door is gonna cover it. So it just bothers me, but it's gonna be covered anyways. It's ripping, it's ripping, it's ripping. No, 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 please don't rip. Don't. That is the last thing I need.
Looks like a professional hack job, dear.
This looks so bad, but
Trust the process.
trust the process. Seriously, trust the process. This part that was hanging here was making everything really heavy, and I was afraid that I would rip, and it did. It ripped right here. So I think it was a good idea to cut it with scissors and just get the excess weight off so that I can now work this small part right here. Okay, so I pre-cut this one. See how thin it is? To make it easier, since I don't have to go around the wall. I think that's probably the easiest. It's like right here. And the only reason you notice it is because it is off a little bit because I'm overlapping it. But it is like, from far away, I can't see it. Go. Same thing here. It's gonna be a trim covering the seam and the ends there. So I only have enough wallpaper to do a bit here, a bit on this side, and somehow I gotta match the bottom. But the mirror is gonna cover most of this, so it's not gonna be visible. The original goal was supposed to have wallpaper on this whole thing. It's just, I thought that would be easier, but nothing's easy. Okay, let me see how I'm gonna do this.
45 minutes later, and still right where we left her. How's it going, Tiffany?
I'm trying to make this work. I think it's gonna look good. It's a little patched together. It's just definitely a patch job. I was able to match one side but not the other. Now keep in mind, only like 1.5 inches is gonna be visible, so about this much. So I'm trying to line it up in a way that maybe just like the green, where the seam is, maybe just the greens line up. Even after all the issues with the wallpaper, I don't hate it, and I find it kind of satisfying, so I would probably do this again sometime.
That was graceful. Like, it looked stunning. It was the most beautiful and graceful artistic movement I've ever seen in my entire life.
This is probably the most uncomfortable place to do this, but I don't feel like moving anywhere else in the house to do this. Like, I'm just Whatever, just do it here. I started here and like it never happened. You know what I just noticed? This side of the wallpaper is upside down. I'm gonna dry fit it, put the mirror, see how I feel. Can you tell it's upside down? I don't think so, but I feel like it's gonna bother me. So in the access panel, I'm going to do quarter round all the way around it, and it's like the small quarter round. And the reason I'm doing that is because there's a seam, obviously, so I think that the trim is gonna separate it nicely, and it's also not gonna look so weird that the patterns don't match. I wanted the patterns to match, but that was not possible. And I am going to let my upside down wallpaper fly. You can't tell it's upside down. Like, this is literally the only piece you see, so that's why I only did the edges. I just needed just enough because the mirror is basically gonna cover the whole thing. But this trim and the rest of this is a tomorrow project. See you then. The next day, I installed the access panel using very thin screws so they'll be barely visible. If you're ever curious about those really bitty screws that I'm using, I mean, they're like super long, but they're like really skinny. They're called trim head screws. Let's play Can You Spot the Screws? The good thing with the busy wallpaper is that it almost blends in with everything that's going on. I will use touch-up paint, so the same paint that I match for the background, I'm just gonna use to touch up the screws so that they blend in a little bit more. There's 8 screws. Yeah, so there's 8 screws. One here, 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 and the bottom, same thing on that side. I wish the mirror was big enough to cover the screws, but the studs are that wide. All right, let's mount the mirror. This is normally very easy, but for some reason I couldn't get the mirror on the screws. I don't understand what was so hard about that. After all that, I have to remove the mirror again because I need to put the trim around it and the dresser, and I don't want to do work around the mirror, risking that it'll break. But I wanted to mount it to have the screws in the right place, so that's why I did that first. Don't, come on. Okay. For the access panel, I'm doing a small quarter round to go around it. I did match the color of the wallpaper, which is a really, really dark brown. And I went to match it at Lowe's. Like, I took a piece of wallpaper and they couldn't match it because it was too shiny. So I got the closest match. I mixed it up with black. I just kept adding black until it was the right color. And here we are. I painted this along with the rest of the trim that I need for the closet the other day. I just did that in one evening so that I will have it ready to go. Misty! You found a stick, but what's your toy? Go get your toy. How you doing, Misty? How you doing, Misty? You're such a good girl. Yes, you're a good girl. I started cutting the quarter round that goes around the access door, but I used this larger piece of wood as support to keep the quarter round from shifting since it's such a thin piece. I'm gonna do a really quick sand because this has some dirty spots, and then I'm gonna do the clear coat on the tops of the dressers. I was getting to the parts where there's lots of bouncing around between tasks. This usually happens to me when I'm getting towards the end of a big project. There's a lot of little things left to do before I can finish. I still hadn't installed the mirror on the access door to avoid breaking it while I work on that area, and I also needed to do the second coat on all the wood. I was supposed to round the edges of the tops before I did the clear coat, but I forgot, so I'm doing it before I do the second coat. I basically marked it where it seemed right and rounded it with a sander. I'm sure there's a correct way to do this and the correct tool, but this seems to work. To cover the plywood edges, I'm using edge banding. It's pretty simple to apply. You just position the banding on the edge of the plywood and then run an iron over it. The heat activates the adhesive. You're supposed to use a roller afterwards to press it down and ensure a strong bond with the plywood, but I can't find mine, so instead I'm pressing the iron against the plywood until I see a little bit of glue squeezing out. You can kind of see it if you look closely. I gotta shave the edges off, and there's this tool that I have somewhere. Oh, right here. So I use this to take the edges off, but I use it very carefully. It is very possible to scratch and peel off part of the top layer of your plywood, so I try to be very careful with it. Shaving off the edges of the banding is where I've had issues in the past. But I've done it so much at this point after building the cabinets for the laundry makeover that I guess over time when you do something over and over, you kind of get good at it. One of the most satisfying things for me to do when I'm finishing any wood surface is making it really smooth. I did a quick sand with 320 grit before I did the second coat, but sometimes if I'm doing 3 coats, I'll go up to 400 grit to make it really smooth. While the tops were drying, I added spacers between the dressers so that the trim would look flush when I install it. Sounds like something's loose on the inside. No, don't do this to me. I like really need you right now. I think this thing broke. Oh, okay. BRB. I took the nails out. I press every button, mess with it, put the nails back in, and now it works. I'm not really sure what was going on, but I fixed it somehow. I did spacers here on this side too, and you can kind of see how the trim's gonna go. So the spacers is just more to, I don't know, so the trim has like a stopping point and there's some support. I don't think they necessarily need it. I'm actually gonna screw the dresser box into the trim so that everything is nicely tight together. I wanted to show you this side here. It's a little bit tricky because I was struggling with these dressers sticking out of these panels because I cut these panels too short. That was the whole thing. But anyways, so I got it to where it's flush at the bottom now, but this side is exposed. So here, you can see if I put the trim, the dresser still sticks out. See, that was the original problem. And I do spacers in between them to avoid that, but this side is visible. So I glued 2 pieces of 3/4 inch plywood. I'm gonna put it like that. I'm gonna do that. And yes, there's gonna be a seam in there, but it's barely visible because it's literally behind the door of the closet. And that's how I'm going to get it flush. So to hold the countertops in place, I mean, they're pretty heavy, so they're not gonna move, but I'll feel more secure by using L brackets, just so they're secured in place. I should have come over just a tiny bit more. But the reason that's really tight, see the, I wanted to make sure the door could open. I will say though, this right here does hit it, but it's no biggie. I have a problem. I made this center with the bottom part, like this right here. And this right here is all centered. That's why I didn't really make this much bigger. I didn't worry about centering with the wall because I thought that that would be what would look best. But then I put it on and I'm staring at it and it's off center up here. And I didn't think that would bother me at first, but it does. I noticed this problem as soon as I put it on, but I wanted to put all the drawers in place, countertop and everything to really look at it. I even went on Canva, I took a picture of this and I added one light and then I tested it with 2 lights. If I do 2 lights, and that looked even worse. So it's bothering me. It bothers me. It's been bothering me the entire time. So I'm gonna have to remake the access panel door because it is perfectly framed to cover that hole. So if I move it, part of the opening is gonna be exposed. So I need to make a bigger door so that I can center it. So I used the leftover plywood to make the new access panel. This time I visually tested to make sure I would like it, but my plan was different this time since I didn't have enough wallpaper. I decided to build a frame to go around the mirror, so I bought decorative trim, I measured and cut to go around the access panel. I think it's gonna be really nice. Then I painted everything black, the same color as the trim in the walls. Why wasn't this my first choice? Isn't that gorgeous? All right, I gotta do a bunch of measuring to center it and mount it, and then we'll stare at it some more. I considered doing an outer edge to cover the exposed plywood, but it would have made the mirror too bulky, so I decided to just paint it. All right, Tony, this is where I need you. You're basically gonna hold it in place, so I'm aligning it. Actually, bring me the level. I just wanna make sure this is plumb. It's, I have to squeeze through so I don't move the camera. This is, we go through this all the time so that the camera doesn't move.
Why are you shimming that?
Because I'm trying to see how much of the shim I have to put under.
I know how I'll make it level. I'm gonna put a shim under the level. That will fix my problem.
No, I promise I'm not crazy. Okay, doesn't matter. Someone's gonna say it's crooked anyway. Yeah, it's recording. Are you doing push-ups on the mirror? If you break this mirror, you are paying for the new mirror and mounting it.
By myself?
By yourself.
My glasses are falling down. Would you mind doing me a solid? Thank you.
Somehow I missed the stud. I think. Just wood attacking us. So, about there. The stud's here. I was so off. I'm missing the stud.
Are you looking for it in the floor?
I had marked it. Stud's probably around here. Stud is about here.
Well, according to your measurements, you should have hit it.
No, I think it's a little bit more there. Okay, let go real quick. Seriously? Where the hell's the stud? Give me the tape measure. 3.5.
You lost your bit in the... That's not a nail. That is
The bit got stuck. Maybe hopefully that means the stud is there.
Did you hit it that time? It sounded like you did.
No, it would have made that crack, 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 crack sound. That's what a stud sounds like. 105 screws later. I'm sorry that light is in your face, but I literally can't see what I'm doing without it. Okay, we are going to make this look like it never happened. I used drywall compound to cover all the holes and touched them up with paint after it dried. I also want to say a quick thank you to all our patrons and members for your support. If you ever want to support this channel further, consider joining our community, or a free way to support the channel if you haven't already would be to subscribe. I don't know if this has been bothering everybody, but this mirror is so dirty. Every time Tony sees this, she's like, that mirror is so dirty. So Tony, this is for you. What do you think? I love this. I think I have a new obsession with building frames for mirrors, like fancy frames. I did one for the bathroom and I loved it. I enjoy building this one, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know why this wasn't the first route that I went, just building a frame. I think at the beginning I thought maybe it was gonna be too much work to do that. I don't regret going through the extra work. It was worth it. It looks so much better. Next, I'm going to be doing trim. So it's gonna be trim on all of the edges, and it's gonna be black trim that matches the dresser. And I think this is what ties everything together. Like just by putting it here, this is so nice. This was like my vision from the beginning, is doing wood on the inside and then black trim on the outside, and the whole room just being black. I can't believe it's like, I'm almost there. I also want to put a light up here above the mirror. I'm gonna change that light fixture. And another thing I wanna do, so I wanna build a little something here, because this is dead space. And the next video should be the final reveal. I know you all probably think the next video and the next video and the next video it's the end of this project, but you see how much there is to do. But next video should be the final reveal, and that will be next week on Friday. I'll see you then.